the slivers out. Oh, yeah, okay.
All right, hello everybody, and welcome to Honey Badger Radio. My name is Brian. I'm here with Allison, and this is Maintaining Frame number 87. Are we watching the internet die? And we're going to be looking at an article from Where's Your Ed At? Is that what it is? Where's Your Ed At? I don't know what that is. Is that a blog or something?
Probably a takeoff of Where's Your Head At? Where's your head at?
Where's your Ed at? Yeah.
Because the guy's name is Ed. His name is Edward Zitron. So we're not actually doing something by a crazy feminist today. We're actually doing an analysis of the future of the interwebs. Webs. Okay. Yeah, I mean, we'll see. Like, it's a bit of a different content, but it does relate to everything we see. You know, it is a thing that is, it's related. It is. Trust me, it is. I chose this topic, by the way, so.
Yeah.
I feel defensive. I feel like.
Nobody's even had anything to say about this yet. Like, you're already being defensive, and no one's expressed an opinion. And they probably do find this an interesting topic.
Okay, that's okay.
Because they're nerds. So.
Yeah, I'll stop being neurotic then.
Yeah. All right. So, do you want to... I guess we're going to be reading through this article. It is long. I read it, but kind of brutal, to be honest.
Is it? It's a brutal...
Yeah, you didn't read it? You said it was short, but it's not short.
Shoot.
So, yeah.
Wow.
Just saying.
I thought it was short. Maybe I thought I saw, like, an ad, and I thought it was the end of it. And...
Nope.
Oh, okay. Well, my apologies then.
Not at all. It's all right. We'll figure it out. But maybe like before we get into this.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So we are having our monthly fundraiser, as per, because it's monthly. You can help us out. Make sure that we can continue to bring this content at feedthebadger.com/support. And if you want to send a message to us at any point throughout the show, you can do so at feedthebadger.com/justthetip. We get the full benefit of whatever funds you send, and you get the benefit of having us read your wisdoms. And that pause was not, there was a lot of things in that pause, because sometimes it's less wisdom and more head scratcher, but it's all good. It's all important. So feedthebadger.com/justthetip to throw in your 2 cents for $5. And feedthebadger.com/support to make sure we can keep doing this show. All right, let's do it. Are we watching the internet die? It's only a 14-minute read. Maybe that's why I thought it was short. Oh no. Have I disappeared? I wasn't even in Discord.
Oh no, it's okay. My phone was my microphone was on mute, that's all.
Oh.
I do have a summary. This might be more useful.
Well, whatever you think.
Okay.
All right. I'm a little paranoid about your mute button now.
Oh yeah. All right. So this is a summary of the article. I mean, unless you want me to read it, because it is a long one. But this is by Ed Zitron, and he's got a blog called Where's Your Ed At? And he's writing about the Reddit and the internet. Reddit is set to go public. So it's going to go public at valuation of $6.5 billion, with select Redditors offered the chance to buy stock at an expected price range of 31 to 34 per share. However, the company's financials paint a concerning picture, with Reddit losing $90.8 million on $804 million of revenue in 2023 and never having turned a profit. CEO Steve Huffman's compensation stands in stark contrast, totaling $193 million in 2023. Reddit's IPO has sparked criticism, with accusations of exploitation leveled against the company for profiting off the unpaid contributions of its users, because Reddit was like, people, it's like Wikipedia, right? Like, people are just posting on it for nothing. It's not labor. But it turned a massive profit for, I guess, the people
Well,
who
not even
created
the,
it.
not even the
Yeah, go ahead.
shareholders, just the dude, just the CEO.
Yeah, just the
Getting a
CEO.
lot for something that doesn't turn a profit.
Yeah, exactly.
I remember way back when, like, I started using Reddit in like 2009, maybe. No, sorry, my dog has decided that he wants to chime in because he wants to try to force me to play with him. And there was one point in time where I was like, I would insert a link to my own website in my posts, and I got slammed for spamming, right? Or something. No, somebody called me out and said, "Oh, you're not supposed to do that. That's self-promotion." And I'm like, I've never been on a forum in the past that didn't allow you to link to your own website or websites related to your work or whatever. You know, you remember that before Reddit, they had those forums on websites and you'd have your own little signature. And you had that in IRC
I don't.
too? You don't? Well, okay.
No, I didn't get the internet until like way later.
There was a period of time where most of the interaction on the internet took place in forums and IRC. Okay, excuse me. No. Forums and IRC. And in those places, those venues, you could create a signature. So it was like you might have a signature on the end of your emails. You'd have a signature on your posts, and you'd have links to whatever, you know, if you had a book or if you had a website, or pretty much that was about it. Like, and for every post that you put on, you would be advertising something to do with yourself. So you people could see, if they liked your post, they could see more of your work, and more of the things that you did. And then I go onto Reddit, and you're not allowed to do that. You just participate at Reddit. You don't put in any links. You're not allowed to self-promote. I remember that. It was like the whole culture of Reddit was like no self-promotion, no linking to your own website. They even, I mean, if you were in a forum, you even got slammed if you put too many posts linking to stuff that you had done personally. So there was this huge culture of not self-promoting. So anti-self-promotion. Meanwhile, you're contributing to Reddit all of this material. Like I remember reading another article how the Google search has become more and more useless. And it's absolutely true. I've found myself looking at Reddit posts to get information more and more, because when I go on Google, is this annoying to anyone else? My dog is really getting, can you guys hear that?
Yeah, we can hear it, but like, that's fine. I'm okay. I can deal with it. I mean, I have a dog. I know how he gets.
Yeah, well, my dog gets so much more than any dog that I've ever seen. Okay, let me can you just read a bit and then I will deal with the doggo?
Yeah, it's fine. So anyway, the platform's move to go public signifies a shift away from prioritizing user experience to appeasing shareholders, a trend epitomized by Huffman's letter to investors. This transition aligns with Cory Doctorow's N-shitification theory, which argues that platforms like Reddit are sacrificing quality for shareholder gains. The rise of generative AI further exacerbates this issue, as algorithms prioritize quantity over quality, leading to a homogenization of internet content and a degradation of user experience. And also, I mean, this is something that I've talked with my wife about. AI is going to be used so frequently that it's going to start essentially referencing itself, because it will be, you know, AI goes out into the internet and it like finds information, right? But as the information is generated by AI, then AI, when looking for information and data, will reference itself. It's like it's gonna, I wouldn't say implode, but it's gonna get to the point where you know, all of it's all self-referential, right? This is the thing about the art. If you notice, if you do enough AI art, it will start to all look the same because it's pulling from itself as a source. So, and of course, it's all gonna be very, very lame, I guess. So,
yeah, scroll down a bit.
all right.
All right. So I want to just
yeah.
conclude what I had to say. I apologize for that, guys.
Yeah,
I
it's
just have
fine.
a very, very enthusiastic working line German Shepherd who considers this time to be his time, not my time. And when I'm talking to people on the internet, he expects to play a game because I sometimes do that. But okay, so on Reddit, they had this stigma against self-promotion, and you couldn't link, and they even if you made an original post linking to something you did, you couldn't do that too often. You might get banned if you did it like more than once every couple days. And then they do this. Like, the Reddit users made Reddit worthwhile. It was their contribution. Without them, there'd be nothing. It was their contribution that made that platform worth a damn. Right? And like I said, I've been finding myself searching on Reddit for stuff instead of Google, because Google searches, I don't know if you've noticed, are completely useless now, or getting very close to useless.
Oh, they're very useless. Yeah, I don't know what, like, I mean, I still use DuckDuckGo and Brave's search, but
yeah, they're not much better.
I don't know that, like, I'm not really sure if there's like a best search engine, but it's certainly not Google.
No,
that is really doctored.
Yeah, and I've noticed that the writing is getting worse and weirder. Like a lot of it's a lot of the stuff that's presented doesn't seem to be written by somebody who knows English. But anyway, so I would go to Reddit to find stuff. But again, so it was the Redditors that made Reddit worthwhile, and they couldn't self-promote, and now this individual, the CEO, is taking all of their work and making money off of it. And this is now I feel even more vindicated when I push back against people who are like, oh, well, you can't do that, and you can't have a signature in Reddit. And I said, I've never been part of a forum which doesn't reward your participation by allowing you to promote yourself.
Yeah.
And I find this very suspicious that this is the social attitude here. And of course, now there's this. Now they took all of that work and all of the self-negation of promoting yourself. Like, you weren't allowed to do that on Reddit, and now you have built a gold mine for this guy. While getting very little out of it. Like, nothing. The users of Reddit were allowed to get nothing out of it. It was a virtue to just give for free. Well, it's not free anymore, is it? Oh boy. Okay, so let's keep going.
All right. Want me to read from the article then? The Reddit IPO is one of the biggest swindles in corporate history, where millions of unpaid contributors made billions of posts so that CEO Steve Huffman would make $193 million in 2023 while laying off 90 people and effectively pushing third-party apps off the platform by charging exorbitant rates for API access, which in turn prompted several prolonged strikes by users, with some of the most popular subreddits going silent for a short period of time. Reddit in turn effectively cooed, I guess, these subreddits, replacing their long-standing moderators with ones of its own choosing, people who could happily toe the party line and reopen them to the public.
Wow.
None of the people that... Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, that's really sleazy. I don't think this is going to be too bad because, like, I really don't think we're going to be doing a lot of responding to it. Like, a little bit of commentary, but it's not like every single line is some insane statement. You know what I mean? And then we all have to stop and, like, just spaz out over it.
Yeah.
Okay. Just keep going.
None of the people that spent hours of their lives lovingly contributing to subreddits or performing the vital but thankless role of moderation will make a profit off of Reddit's public listing. but Sam Altman will make hundreds of millions of dollars for his $50 million investment from 2014. Reddit also announced that it had cut a $60 million deal to allow Google to train its models on Reddit's posts, once again offering users nothing in return for their hard work.
Oh boy. Again, I remember, oh no, you can't self-promote. That's unethical.
Mm-hmm.
Well, mm-hmm.
Huffman's letter to investors waxes poetic about Redditors' deep sense of ownership over the communities they create and justifies taking the company public by claiming that he wants, quote, this sense of ownership to be reflected in real ownership, end quote, as he offers them a chance to buy non-voting stock in a company that they helped enrich. Huffman ends his letter by saying that Reddit is, quote, one of the internet's largest corpuses of authentic and constantly updated human-generated experience, end quote, before referring to it as the company's, quote, data advantage and intellectual property, end quote, describing Redditors' posts as, quote, data that constantly grows and regenerates as users converse, end quote. We're at the end of a vast, multifaceted con of internet users where ultra-rich technologists trick their customers into building their companies for free. And while the trade once seemed fair, it's become apparent that these executives see users not as willing participants in some sort of fair exchange, but as veins of data to be exploitatively mined as many times as possible, given nothing in return other than access to a platform that may or may not work properly.
Yeah.
This is a oh yeah, go ahead.
That's of course editorializing, but I would say that is I wonder how all the people who were talking about, don't self-promote, how they're feeling about it now. And honestly, the fact that they've made it a virtue, like to be against recognizing your own contribution, against recognizing that, what if you're participating in Reddit, maybe you deserve a bit of a bit of something going back to you. Well, here you go. This is the end result of that, of cultivating that virtue. The people who embraced it sounds really communist, but the people who embraced it are now the ones who are most screwed by it.
Yeah, and the thing is too, is it really just about money? Because what is Reddit? What is there that is valuable? I mean, there's discussions. It's information, right? And I don't mean like private information. I mean like conversations. Like that's what's on Reddit, right? It's not a product. Like what's the product? I mean, people will maybe I'm wrong. I'm just asking because I don't do Reddit. Like I go to the men's rights subreddit once in a while just to see if there's anything interesting to talk about. But I don't have an account there. I don't do anything there. But people will say that like if you have a social media account like Facebook or Google or Twitter or YouTube or whatever it is, that the product is you because it's your information that, corporations and other groups use to like sell you things and, market at you and shit. Like you'll get Amazon, you'll be having a conversation with somebody and you'll mention something you're interested in and then suddenly you'll look in the feeds on your social media and you'll see an ad for the thing that you were just talking about. And that's all true. I think that is, it's obviously true. They have their phone listens to your conversations and your GPS tells like the government or whoever, they know where you are and all that. But what is the value in Reddit? What does it have? And I think it's more than just like the money it can make. I think there's a tremendous amount of power in the information, the conversational stuff, the sources and the data that's on Reddit. I mean, I don't know what else it could be, So,
yep.
I mean, yes, there are ads on Reddit, but there's ads everywhere. Like you can go to like, especially like smaller websites, they tend to have tons of ads because they have to like find a way to monetize a little bit, right? So, anyway, just something to think about. Like I think that yes, there's a lot of money to be made, but I think there's more than that. I think there's something more powerful, more meaningful that you can get out of owning something like Reddit. So,
Mm. Yeah.
anyway. So we're at the end of a vast. Oh, I already read that part. This is, of course, the crux of Cory Doctorow's enshittification theory, where Reddit has moved from pleasing users to pleasing its business customers to now pleasing shareholders at what will inevitably be the cost of the platform's quality. Yet, what's happening to the web?
Going to be
What?
paid? How are the shareholders going to be paid? This thing never turned a profit.
I don't know. I mean, he's selling shares now, so I don't know how you're going to make money unless you're going to turn it into
A pyramid scheme?
yeah, change the model so that there's money, or use the ad revenue, because there are ads that run on Reddit. So it could be that. I don't know.
Mm.
Anyway. Well, let's see. Yeah, what's happening to the web is far more sinister than simple greed. Oh, yeah, see, he even acknowledges that. But the destruction of the user-generated internet, where executives think they found a way to replace human beings making cool things with generative monstrosities trained on data sets controlled and monetized by trillion-dollar firms. I can only think of one trillion-dollar firm that comes to mind. It's like the only one I know about. Their ideal situation isn't one where you visit distinct websites with content created by human beings, but a return to the dark ages of the internet, where most traffic ran through a series of heavily curated portals operated by a few select companies, with results generated based on data sets that are increasingly poisoned by generative content built to fill space rather than be consumed by a customer. The algorithms are easily tricked, and the tools used to trick them are becoming easier to use and scale.
Look at that. Generated.
And it's slowly killing the internet. What was that?
Well, if you click on generative content, it goes to an article that says when AI is trained on AI generated data, strange things start to happen.
Yeah. Where's that? Where are you increasingly poisoned by generative content?
Yes.
Oh yeah, this is what I was thinking. When
Yeah.
AI is trained on AI generated data, strange things start to happen. Yeah.
Yep. I'm gonna take a look at that. You just can continue to read.
All right.
Wow. Yeah, this is a bit long, but I think, like I said, we're not gonna end up like going off on big tangents.
Too many.
Yeah. Let's just keep going.
Okay. Degenerative AI. After the world's governments began their above-ground nuclear weapons tests in the mid-1940s, radioactive particles made their way into the atmosphere, permanently tainting all modern steel production, making it challenging, or impossible, to build certain machines, such as those that measure radioactivity. Because the machines have radioactivity in them because they're in the metal, right?
Mm.
As a result, we've a limited supply of something called low background steel, pre-war metal that oftentimes has to be harvested from ships sunk before the first detonation of a nuclear weapon, including those dating back to the Roman Empire.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Okay.
Generative AI models are trained by using massive amounts of text scraped from the internet, meaning that the consumer adoption of generative AI has brought a degree of radioactivity to its own data set. As more internet content is recreated, either partially or entirely through generative AI, the models themselves will find themselves increasingly inbred, training themselves on content written by their own models, which are, on some level, permanently locked in 2023, before the advent of a tool that is specifically intended to replace content created by human beings. This is a phenomenon that Jathan Sadowski calls Habsburg AI, where a system that is so heavily trained on the outputs of other generative AIs that it becomes an inbred mutant, likely with exaggerated grotesque features. In reality, a Habsburg AI will be one that is increasingly more generic and empty, normalized into a slop of anodyne business speak as its models are trained on increasingly identical content. LinkedIn, already a repository of empty-headed corpo nonsense, already lets users write generate messages, profiles, and job descriptions using AI. And anything you create using these generative features is immediately fed back into Azure's OpenAI models owned by its parent company, Microsoft. which invested $10 billion in OpenAI in early 2023. While LinkedIn is yet to introduce fully automated replies, Chrome extensions already exist to flood the platform with generic responses, feeding more genericisms into the mouth of Microsoft and OpenAI's models.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about when I was looking at a lot of the Google content now. It's like,
Yeah,
it doesn't have any insight. It's incredibly generic. And it's repetitive. Like there will be 12 websites, the first hit on Google, and they're all basically say the same thing. And you have to learn to actually filter out and try to find something that has a human being in it. And ultimately, when you do that, you get to Reddit, because Reddit is mostly created by human beings. I don't know if that's the case anymore, but that's what I think. That's part of it. I think there must have been like AI deployed even before they made it public.
Yeah.
There were a lot of articles that had a sameness to them, a genericness to them, and didn't really offer any insight. I've noticed that they're starting to create AI videos too. Have you noticed
Oh yeah.
that?
Yeah, I've seen that. AI videos, AI movie scripts, AI articles, AI headlines. I've noticed like so I've been following this Sweet Baby Inc. Gamergate 2 stuff a lot, and I look at what other people are making in terms of videos, and I've seen like this pattern of people making thumbnails that are identical to each other, and I think they're using an AI to do it because it's not the same person. They're different users, but their thumbnails all have the same like, I don't know, it's like the same layout, you know, it's like the same, there's like an image in the back of like AI generated art of like female video game characters, and over the front there's like a serif, you know, all caps font of like a word, like, you know, ESG or they hate you or something like that, right? And I was looking at seeing that, and I'm like, are they using AI, and are they unaware that there are other people that are making identical, like almost identical thumbnails? Like you can't really tell them apart. You know, like you'd have to look at the name of the person making the video to say, oh, okay, it's so and so. But yeah, I've seen that. Okay, should I keep going? Allison, are you there? You drop?
No, I didn't drop. I actually have like I might still have like a piece of a metal splinter in my finger, which is bothering me. So I was seeing if I could just pop it out, but
A metal splinter?
yeah, I unfortunately, just before we started the show, I was helping my husband move like a bathroom partition in the Badger Cave out of the bathroom and into the basement so that we could repurpose the room as like something for like silk screening. And there was like a bunch of metal slivers, because they're like a screw hole with a bunch of metal slivers, and I managed to get something in my finger almost immediately too, just as soon as I helped him pick it up. Oh, I don't know if I'm working it deeper into my finger. Anyway, so that's what I was trying to deal with, just because it was really uncomfortable. But no, you could continue.
All right. So generative AI also naturally aligns with toxic incentives created by the largest platforms. Google's algorithmic catering to the search engine optimization industry. That's another way of saying we make sure that you don't find what you're looking for, but instead you find what we want you to find. Benefits those who can spin up large amounts of, quote, relevant, end quote, content rather than content created by humans. While Google has claimed that their upcoming core update will help promote, quote, content for people and not to rank in search engines, end quote, it's made this promise before, and I severely doubt anything meaningfully changes. After all, Google makes up more than 85% of all search traffic and pays Apple billions a year to make Google search the default on Apple devices. And yeah, people are too lazy to like even, you know, consider an alternative. Like, and they make Google so convenient. It's literally everywhere. that like normies will just use it, right? They're not going to think about it. That's the thing I think this is really about. It's about controlling information. You know, like when Uncle Alex said we're in an information war, that's literally what this is. The information war is a big part of the culture war. So, and because these platforms are built to reward scale and volume far more often than quality, AI naturally rewards those who can find the spammiest ways to manipulate the algorithm. 404 Media reports that spammers are making thousands of dollars from TikTok's creator program by making faceless reels, where AI-generated voices talk over spliced together videos ripped from YouTube, and a cottage industry of automation gurus are cashing in by helping others flood Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram with low-effort videos that are irresistible to algorithms. So it's like, if you want to make money on like YouTube or TikTok, you don't make content for users, you make content for the algorithm, and then you're rewarded. You have to please the algorithm. So please our algorithm by hitting like on this stream right now.
For what it's worth.
I don't know that it's, I mean, if you guys can give us some likes, that'd be great. We'd appreciate human beings giving likes and not you know, the algorithm, because it doesn't like us. It just takes from us. It just takes, you know?
No, it takes.
It's like an abusive spouse that just takes and takes and takes.
Takes and takes and takes.
Yeah.
Just takes.
Amazon's Kindle, what?
I said just takes what it wants. I don't even know where I got that one. I'm thinking it's one of Mike's cartoons. It just takes what it wants.
Yeah. Or, you know, this is, by the way, this is the reason why I think, another reason why we should all just, I think we should migrate to Rumble. I know that, like, most of you guys watch us on YouTube.
Or Twitter, honestly.
Well, a lot of people watch on Twitter, too, which is good. Yeah, but on, I think Rumble is better because I can still look at the chat. Twitter needs to, like, sort out its streaming situation because like if people want to be in the live chat on Twitter, I can't look at it, you know.
With Twitter, but we I think we got started to get promoted live on X on Twitter or something. Something happened.
Yeah.
And I could not explain, but we're getting more traffic through Twitter, which is interesting. Like more people are watching on Twitter.
I like Twitter.
Yeah.
I like it now. I like X.
Yeah. I mean, I like the fact that Elon seems to be okay with telling people to go screw themselves. I mean, I say what you will, but at least we seem to be getting a more of a shake now on Twitter. But
you know, that's true. But you know, there's a pretty big Rumble user that used to be on YouTube. He used to be a Fox like regular. He would go on for panel discussions, and he's like a former FBI and a former New York cop, I think. His name is Dan Bongino, and he's great. I love him. He's so like down to earth and blue collar. But anyway, he just quit YouTube flat out and went to Rumble. And I'm saying this because Rumble's been coming up like in a serious way. Like he's on Rumble. He has like tens of thousands of people that watch him every day of the week, and so a lot of other people that I like are on Rumble. Teal Deer is on Rumble, you know, and he does well there. And Steven Crowder did a stream, I think, and this is noteworthy because of the scale. There was a Republican national debate, and he did a live stream, like reacting to the debate. Now, a lot of people were streaming the Republican national debate on YouTube and other places, but that Rumble stream was the largest one in the world. Like the most people were watching. So there are a lot of people on Rumble, and it's growing. And Rumble's been making a lot of improvements too. They have this thing now called Rumble Studio, which is essentially operates like StreamYard. So it lets you do like host entire podcasts purely through Rumble, which is pretty cool. The only thing I'm trying to figure out is how to get OBS to cooperate with it, but I'm working with them right now to figure that out. Anyway, I'm saying that like I think, you know, YouTube is fine, but I think that like people should please subscribe over on Rumble, because we'll be like, if we go to Rumble, there's so much more relaxed about like not just with the algorithm, but also with in terms of like their policies on like, you know,
Speech.
copyright and censorship and stuff. They're way more chill about that. You know, we get hit for weird things on YouTube that I don't get. Like the news show we did, I had this little video clip, it's like 30 seconds long, of a TikTok video of a guy like asking women to smile, and there was this music over the top of it. It was a 30-second clip, and YouTube flagged it, like banned it in Russia or something. I don't know if there's any Russians watching, but that's probably why you couldn't watch that show. And then I'm like, okay, and so I go in and I edit it to like mute that section so there's no music, and it still got hit even though there was no sound. But on Rumble, the full thing is there. You can just watch it. Like there's no issues. I mean, I think it's still on Twitch and Twitter as well, because I think that they generally are lax. But YouTube's been tightening it. Google in general, they've been tightening their grip a lot. So I'm just saying, like, if we can get everybody on Rumble, that would be such a relief. We could just do everything there. We could do the after shows there. We could do like a thing where maybe we start a video on YouTube and we get to a certain point and then we end it and then we just continue the rest of the show on Rumble or Twitch or Twitter or all of those. You know, that's not a problem. But I think it's something that would be worth looking into or exploring. So please subscribe to our Rumble. It's in the description. There's a link there. It's HB Radio at Rumble. I'm gonna shamelessly plug it. So
okay, I will say one thing.
Okay.
YouTube, in its competition for Twitter or TikTok, is doing different things with its shorts, which I think it's almost like a little bit of a loophole at this point. So I mean, I got some attention through shorts in 2022. I walked away to do my writing because I felt that ultimately YouTube attention isn't going to be the solution to this thing, or it won't be. And I'm not saying that my writing is the solution, but I think it's more in line with what the solution could be. So
yeah.
that's where I was going. But if you are interested in this topic and you want to put together work, I suggest going into YouTube Shorts. YouTube Shorts, Rumble streams, and maybe Twitter streams. That's the way to go, in my opinion. Because I think that they have to, in order to compete with TikTok, YouTube has had to relax something about shorts. It really gave me an eye opener, because we aren't suffering an algorithmic penalty, I believe, through the shorts. Like the algorithm already has decided which creators it prefers, and that algorithm is also weighted. We know that it's weighted because I have seen or read feminist organizations who have those back doors into YouTube that we found out that Twitter used to have for government organizations, and they basically tell YouTube, you gotta reduce the scope of this content. You gotta take your algorithm and give it a penalty to this content. And we know that men's issues content has a penalty in the algorithm. I'm not so sure it's true about the shorts. So when I was doing the shorts for 3 months in 2022, we got more hits on YouTube than we have gotten in the years, aside from like maybe Karen's channel, in the years that we've been doing Honey Badger Radio. And yes, I know I'm still sort of wrestling with the fact that I walked away from that, but in a lot of cases I was looking at those hits. I mean, it was a lot of attention, but on the other hand, it didn't translate into a lot of interaction, and it didn't translate into a lot of like community building. And I had to sort of make a decision about where to put my focus. But I think that for now, and maybe until TikTok actually kills YouTube, YouTube is going to take its finger off the algorithm for the shorts, because it's looking at its own demise. That's my opinion. I could be completely wrong. Anyway, we probably should continue here. Oh, wait.
Good. I got a super chow. Do you want to do thank yous?
Yes, I'm going to do some thank yous. You do the super chows. I want to thank Craig C. for putting through $25, which he does every month. So thank you, Craig
All right.
C.
Thank you.
He's a long-term supporter. And
Absolutely.
I also want to thank the Great Indoors, who put through $50 to the fundraiser, which is at feedthebadger.com/support. And I just want to do a good shout out to Great Indoors because he also sponsored the last after shows, or maybe it wasn't the last after show.
Oh, the last fundraiser thing?
No, the Lilith. He was the one.
The Lilith after show. Yeah,
Lilith
right.
after show. So thank you for sponsoring our Lilith after show.
My spoon is too big.
And which may inspire a discussion of Lilith with Janice Fumengo. Has she actually responded?
Yeah, I haven't heard from her yet, but I'm hoping to
I
get
think-
Janice on. I think she
give her
could
a
go
poke.
on for hours about the romantics.
Yeah, I could give her a poke and maybe she'll.
Yeah, you have more pull than me.
Well, I don't think cool. I mean, she might not really know who you are.
That's
No, I
true.
mean, it's because there's a lot of like.
I know it's not my name. I know.
It's not your name, and you know, she might be a little. You know, she doesn't.
Wary.
I can't keep track of everybody's name. Like everybody,
Yeah.
like our patrons. There's some patrons who have like 5 different screen names, and you have to figure out which one, and then not say their real name. You know, it can get really confusing. All right, let's read a bit more.
All right.
Oh, wait.
Oh, I got the I want to read the super chow. Sorry.
Yeah, read
hold
the
on a
super chow.
second. So I got a super chow from Great Indoors. Thank you, Great Indoors, for $10. And he says, sounds like these developments will incentivize technological grassroots counter movement with an AI inward spiral on the horizon. It becomes almost a necessity, or so I think. Yeah, I mean, I think there, like, I don't know, like, there's a lot of like pessimism that I see around me, but I do think that everything will flatten out, and we're gonna want to hear from, like, you know, flesh and blood human beings. You know, people talk about like how AI art is killing art. I don't think it is. I think people can see AI art, like, they're, for whatever reason, you can recognize it right away. It's a little too clean. It's you know, it's just, I think the same is true for everything. People can tell when that we have an instinct for what is human and what is not. So, and people are gonna want that. But I mean, and there are people who are a bit more base that are making AI. So we'll see what happens with that. No, I'm not talking about Elon Musk. Before you jump up on my throat, I'm not talking about him. But like, you know, Andrew Torba is working on an AI, supposedly for Gab, I think. And who knows who else? I mean, like, you know, but maybe like it's okay that we aren't reliant on that. Maybe it's okay if it exists simply as a kind of support resource, and that we instead rely on our own abilities. So I'm with Great Indoors on that, personally. So anyway, where was I? So Amazon's Kindle ebook platform has been flooded with AI generated content that briefly dominated bestseller lists, forcing Amazon to limit authors to publishing 3 books a day. Holy crap, that's funny. Who the hell is buying that? Like, if you're like, who's buying that? I guess you could just, it's probably not ChatGPT. It's probably like something more advanced, but it's funny. This hasn't stopped spammers from publishing awkward rewrites and summaries of other people's books. And because Amazon's policies don't outright ban AI generated content, ChatGPT has become an inoperable cancer on the body of the publishing industry. I wonder if Chuck Tingle books are considered AI. Pounded in the butt by the ghost of my own butt. You remember those?
Yes, I remember those. And then he sided with, I think, Zoe Quinn, didn't he? Yeah.
He was working on a project with her, like a game. I don't know that he took a side, like, ideologically, but he was, or she claimed that he was working on something with her.
Oh yeah.
But
that
nothing
is
ever
true.
came out of it, because Zoe
That's
Quinn
true.
is...
Maybe it was just an empty claim.
Yeah, it was probably just an empty claim. I mean, Zoe Quinn doesn't accomplish anything, so that involves being vertical anyway. But anyway, so let's continue. Handmade goods, huh?
Okay, keep it. No,
What?
keep going. Sorry, I was.
Handmade goods store Etsy, so even Etsy has its own AI problem, with Atlantic reporting last year that the platform has now pumped full of AI generated art, t-shirts, and mugs that in turn use ChatGPT to optimize listings to rank highly in Google search. As a profitable public company, Etsy has little incentive to change things, even if the artisanal products on the platform are being crowded out by generative art pasted on drop-shipped shirts. eBay, on the other hand, is leaning into the spam, offering tools to generate entire listings based on a single image using generative AI. The Wall Street Journal reported last year that magazines are now inundated with AI-generated pitches for articles, and renowned sci-fi publisher Clarkesworld, that's I guess Arthur C. Clarke is what it's named after, was forced to close submissions after receiving an overwhelming amount of AI-generated stories. Help a Reporter Out used to be a way for journalists to find potential sources and quotes, except requests are now met with a deluge of AI-generated spam. These stories are, of course, all manifestations of a singular problem: that generative artificial intelligence is poison for an internet dependent on algorithms. There are simply too many users, too many websites, and too many content providers to manually organize and curate the contents of the internet, making algorithms necessary for platforms to provide a service. Generative AI is a perfect tool for soullessly churning out content to match a particular set of instructions, such as those that an algorithm follows. And while an algorithm can theoretically be tuned to evaluate content as human,
So can
scaled content be tweaked to make it seem more human.
Okay. I said in the future that men's rights anything will be used to determine whether or not content is human generated, because the algorithm will never generate men's rights content. Because the AI will not generate it because it is selected against in the algorithm. So the only thing left of humanity will be us in our own little freaking island outside of the AI storm.
That's funny.
Yeah, it is. We're going to be it. And it will be because the algorithm won't touch us or doesn't like us. Oh, man. Well, I hope you...
Well, us and like hunter-gatherer tribes and people who are off the grid, like the Mennonites or something.
Yeah, we're gonna be the only thing left after
the Inuit.
AI. The AI Holocaust. Oh shit. Am I allowed to use that term?
Yeah, I think it's better than Holodomor.
Okay. Yeah.
Which I just used. So.
Okay. Well, yeah, hates this already, so there you go.
Yeah. We're beneath its notice. To be frank.
Okay. So that mark this down, guys. Something being about men's issues, men's vulnerabilities, men's experience, or women's responsibility, or women, any kind of blaming of women, that will be in the future an indication that a person is behind that content and not the AI.
Yeah.
Oh God. Okay.
All right. Things get worse when you realize that the sheer volume of internet content makes algorithmic recommendations a necessity to sift through an ever-growing pile of crap. Generative AI allows creators to weaponize the algorithm's weaknesses to monetize and popularize low-effort crap, and ultimately, what is a platform to do? Ban anything that uses AI-generated content? Adjust the algorithm to penalize videos without people's faces? How does a platform judge the difference between a popular video and a video that the platform made popular? And if these videos are made by humans and enjoyed by humans, why should it stop them? Google might pretend it cares about the quality of search results, but nothing about search's decade-long decline has suggested it's actually going to do anything. Google's spam policies have claimed for years that scraped content outright ripping the content of another website was grounds for removal from Google, but even the most cursory glance at any news search shows how often sites thinly rewrite or outright steal others' content.
Okay, I need to get in on that. I need to get in on that. That's okay. News sites repeating others' content, that isn't because necessarily they're stealing it. It's because they all come from a central. Like, there's only a few companies that own all of these news outlets, and they just spread these articles.
You mean like gamers don't have to be your audience?
Yeah, and I mean, I noticed this back in like the 90s. And I'm like,
Mhm.
wow, all of these articles are just repetitions of the same thing and with corporate media, and it's because they're very centralized. And interestingly enough, a lot of like you might consider fiscally conservative or conservative companies actually own left-wing media. So that's a head scratcher, but let's continue with this one.
Well, actually, it's not really that surprising when you realize that, like, yeah, there is like an elite class, and there's a lot of like fake fighting that happens. But and I think a lot of it is like, yeah, well, you guys heard about what happened with Candace Owens, right? She left the Daily Wire because she got into a fight with Ben Shapiro. That's a perfect example, because like those guys, they're not really on the side that you think. You know, Steven Crowder talked about that. This kind of corporate neocon bullshit that is not much different from the left at all and needs to be called out. So, but anyway, and I can't express enough how bad yet inevitable the existence of the $40 billion search engine optimization industry is, and how much of a boon being able to semi-automate the creation and optimization of content to the standards of an algorithm that Google has explained in exhaustive detail. While it's plausible that Google might genuinely try to fight the influx of SEO-generated articles, one has to wonder why it'd bother to try now after spending decades catering to the industry. As we speak, the battle that platforms are fighting is against generative spam, a cartoonish and obvious threat of outright nonsense, meaningless chum that can and should and likely will be stopped. In the process, they're failing to see that this isn't a war against spam, but it's a war against crap, and the overall normalization and intellectual numbing that comes when content is created to please algorithms and provide a minimum viable product for consumers. Google's useless results problem isn't one born of content that has no meaning, but of content that only sort of helps. That is the right result, but doesn't actually provide any real thought behind it, like the endless how to fix error code X results full of well-meaning and plausibly helpful content that doesn't really help at all.
Yep, that's exactly what I was describing at the beginning. And by the way, this article is not unpleasant to read, unlike feminist articles, and I mean that in an objective sense. Like, it's every paragraph has something new to add. It isn't a long fictionalized, like, like this kind of fictionalized dramatized, you know what I'm talking about, this dramatized victimhood.
Yeah,
you know, like it feels like there's something worth reading in every paragraph rather than just you
oh yeah, for sure.
We're taking me on a story, we're going on a journey.
That's like, yeah, the like when you read like a Mel magazine article and it's making a claim and you're like, okay, let's find out, and then it turns into this like freaking fan fiction for like 5 paragraphs before they even get to anything, and then it ends up being an ad for some product. Yeah. And by the way, buy our butt plugs.
Yeah, a lot of feminist articles just feel pointless, like crap, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
And I sometimes get into arguments on Twitter, and then I will say something that I consider to be pretty devastating, and other people who follow me on Twitter often will say, well, that's over. And then the person will just keep going, like a top spinning down, like reams upon reams upon reams of irrelevancies, you know. And I'm like, do you think that the fact that you're continuing to speak means you won? No.
Mm-hmm.
Just means that you are attempting to locate a win in a whole bunch of verbal spaghetti. Yeah, that's basically it. Just like, I'm going to bury my opponent in verbal spaghetti, and then that will mean that I won.
Yep.
Not so much. Okay, let's keep going.
Okay. The same goes for Etsy and Amazon. While Etsy's spam is an existential threat to actual artisans building something with their hands, it's not actual spam, it's cheaply made crap that nevertheless fulfills the need, or a need, and sort of fits Etsy's remit. Amazon doesn't have any incentive to get rid of low quality books that sell for the same reason that it doesn't get rid of its other low quality items. People aren't looking for the best, they're looking to fulfill a need, even if that need is fulfilled with poorly constructed crap. Platforms likely conflate positioning with popularity, failing to see the self-fulfilling prophecy of an algorithm making stuff popular because said stuff is built to please the algorithm, creating more demand for content to please the algorithm. Viral content is no longer a result of lots of people deciding that they find something interesting. It's a condition created by algorithms manipulated by forces that are getting stronger and more nuanced thanks to generative AI. We're watching the joint hyperscaling and hypernormalization of the internet, where all popular content begins to look the same to appeal to algorithms run by companies obsessed with growth. Quality control in AI models only exists to stop people from nakedly exploiting the network through unquestionably iniquitous intent, or iniquitous intent, rather than people making shitty stuff that kind of sucks but gets popular because an algorithm says so. This isn't a situation where these automated tools are giving life to new forms of art or interesting new concepts, but regurgitations of an increasingly less unique internet, because these models are trained on data drawn from the internet. Like a plant turning to capture sunlight, parts of the internet have already twisted towards the satisfaction of algorithms, and as others become dependent on generative AI, like Quora, which now promotes ChatGPT and generated answers at the top of results, so will the web become more dependent and dictated by automated systems.
Yeah, I don't read those ChatGPT generated answers.
How do you know when you're getting them? Oh, because Quora does tell you that this is a generated answer. Yeah, I've talked to ChatGPT before, and you can usually tell because of how careful it is.
Careful.
It just look, it has there's a way that it produces information that looks like AI. I can't explain it. Just the way that
it's an intuitive
organized.
It's an intuition you have about it. I get it. It's just it's the object permanence that humans have, that some humans have. Feminists often seem to not have it,
I think they are AI.
The women calling out the pick-mishas and the pick-me's, they don't seem to have object permanence, but everybody else sort of has object. You know what? I just had an insight. Mike created this cartoon where he called women like Hannah Cox and Manifestel apex predators from another dimension that don't realize that they're leaving behind a permanent trail of their behavior. And I realized that, you know what's happening and what may be the source of a lot of this chaos? And it's not necessarily a bad thing, but all of the stuff that women used to do that would just all of the social stuff that women, specifically, I'm not even talking like the average woman, but like the sociopaths that are women, the female sociopaths, all of the social stuff that they would do, all the destructive social stuff that they would do is now there's a paper trail. It used to be most of human history, it would just disappear. And we would just be left with the record the annals.
The what? The annals of history?
The annals. I am so sorry. That was bad. Okay.
It's okay.
The annals of history. We would be left with, such and such king declared war on such and such duke and whatever else. And you wouldn't see all of the mean girl crap that preceded it. But now we do. Now it's the
internet never forgets. So
the internet never forgets, and the primary way that women are socializing is on the internet. So they are leaving this paper trail. The receipts are there, and I wonder how much longer they can blame men for, hey, look, this is your choice and your behavior. I mean, they're continuing to, because they still insist that it's men that bully other women on the internet. Although, and I was telling you like today, how since our content has been noticed by women, I have had much, much, much more insults to my appearance than I have ever had in the 10 years when our content was pretty much invisible to women and only consumed by men. Like I've never experienced this level of abuse about my appearance. until women started to notice me. And I'm like, wow, I mean, they're giving me insecurities I never even had a word for. And I'm like, oh my freaking God. Like, okay, is this what it's like to be in women's, like, to be more
target crosshairs?
Well, not just crosshairs, but to be in their society of women like this. It's like, it's awful. It's awful. And I was thinking, like, I think there are women who are just so sick of it. Well, they have nowhere to go.
Yeah, well, I mean, why is it whenever they talk about like how much online abuse girls suffer, we're like, no, it's coming from other girls.
Yes.
That's it right there. I mean, anyone who's honest with themselves knows, you know, like that, like, yeah, that's where it comes. Like, the worst a man it will tell you is like, you know, that they fucked your mom or something. But like that
absurd. Well, I mean, they can be cruel too, but just not to this level, and not with this level of dedication. Like, and I'm just like, remember that first Hannah Cox's video on the Pekmishas, or the Pick-Mes. The first woman just was sad that she couldn't have relationships with women because they were just so brutal. And Hannah Cox was like, oh, that's not Pick-Me. And she wasn't even like complaining like, oh, other women are taking away my merms. You know, they're taking away my guy, you know, like they're taking my gerbs. You know, like, she wasn't even doing that. It wasn't even about women being a threat to her in terms of men, or even about men at all. It was just about her sadness that the female communities she'd been part of, were so toxic. And she's not wrong. I mean, I've been sort of hanging out in an online community with a higher number of women. And honestly, it's exhausting because it feels like you're constantly walking on eggshells. And then I go, And then I go back to like our community at badgernation.online, and there are some women in our community. I mean, it's not a huge amount of women. I think that we've consistently had about 6% natural, just women being interested in what we have to say, or just being more masculine women. And I'm thinking, like, it's so much nicer to hang out with those women, because I mean, we have had trouble with women causing drama in the Discord, but not so much lately. And it's just so relaxed because you just, you know, you talk about your interests, you share pictures of cats, and that's it. Nobody's tearing each other down. Nobody's insulting each other. Nobody's freezing each other out or playing virtuous games or using feminism to force other people to do things they don't want to do. You know, it's just a chill space that isn't coercive. And I'm like, is this how you ladies want to live? And then it's just absurd to see a woman call that out. And then Hannah Cox calls her a pick-me and doesn't even engage with what she's saying. And then does the same thing she's doing, calling out other women, except Hannah Cox is saying, well, this woman who's calling out other women for making this community toxic for women. So she's like, I value other women's company, but I can't experience it when the culture is so toxic. And Hannah's like, oh, that's a pick-me. And then she turns around and she basically complains about women who are threatening her desirability to men. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Do you understand the difference there? One is complaining about, well, the criticism comes from a position of wanting to have relationships with women, and the other is coming from the position of wanting to have more power over men. Do you see the difference? Isn't one more like a pick-me? Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Well, no, it is. I think pick-me is like, it's just projection again. You know, like going one way. Yeah, but there's also like a desire to like essentially make sure that women are all on the same side when it comes to like being antagonistic towards men. Is that like ultimately what that, you know, because if a woman is not inherently antagonistic towards a man, then she's a pick-me. That's where it comes from. And it's like, well, there's no basis for that. You're just saying, you know, like not hating men means that you want their attention. Like what? How did you get here, lady? How did you come to be alive in this world today? Like, you know, but they don't get it. I mean, they will, and when they do enough suffering. But
well, okay, just before you continue, it's just that they need to blame men because they can't take responsibility for their own behavior, and because they can't take responsibility for their own behavior, their communities become more and more toxic to other women, and they destroy any kind of mentorship between women, any kind of sense of community and camaraderie, and then they just blame men more. And if you're going to be a woman who does that, you're never going to get out of that cycle until you stop blaming men for your own bad behavior, for your own shadow self. That was something Nancy Friday said. She was a feminist who did a series of books on women and men's secret sexual fantasies. And she said that women project their shadow onto men. But as long as you do that as a woman, you are never going to be able to resolve the toxicity of communities that are basically dominated by women, which means you're never really going to get away from men. And it's not something tenable, and it's extremely uncomfortable to be part of it. I remember just leaving that community, and I'm like, oh God, I just need to hang out with a woman who isn't a lunatic. So I went back to our community, and I just ended up talking with one of the women there, you know, and it's like, oh, that is so, it's like it is a palate cleanser. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we're just geeking out on things that we enjoy. Yeah, so it's going to continue to get worse because women like this are allowed not to take responsibility for their behavior, even when it comes to their behavior to women. You know, that's not satisfying. You saying, well, I'm abusing you because of patriarchy's beauty standards, and it's like, no, you're doing it because you're a bitch.
Yep.
Nothing to do with patriarchy. Okay.
All right, I got some super chows, so I'm gonna read them really quick. Richard Bier gives us $5 and says, so only now is there complaining that contributions to the Reddit forum should be monetized. Someone obviously hasn't looked into the logistics of this so far. Sounds like someone complaining that the communist revolution didn't result in something becoming the artist that the revolutionary movement promised to them. And then he gives another $5 and says, there is this clip from a call-in radio show where the caller asked the host to contact someone who she slept with, who turned out to be the one that her son had bullied in high school. Remember when girls used to keep their diary private and locked? Now they post everything on the internet. Well, maybe there's some benefit to that.
There is a lot of references there. I'm not even sure what the heck he's saying. There's a clip from a call-in show where the caller asked the hosts to contact someone who she slept with, who turned out to be the one that had her son had bullied in high school. What the fuck? I can't even parse that. Can you?
So this woman slept with her son's bully.
Ugh.
It's like Stifler's mom.
No. No. She slept with the kid her son bullied.
Oh. She slept with the kid that her son had bullied. Yeah. Yeah, it's Stifler's mom.
No, actually, you got me an assist there, Brian, because you interpreted the first part of that. And then I managed to be able to come through with the last part.
Oh, okay.
That was a hard one. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Richard. Shall we continue?
Yeah, that was a bit of a puzzle. All right. The ultimate problem is that this morass of uselessness will lead companies like Google to force their generative AIs to fix the problem by generating answers to sift through the crap. Amazon now summarizes reviews using generative AI, legitimizing the thousands of faked and paid for reviews on the platform, and presenting them as verified and trusted information from Amazon itself. Google has already been experimenting with its search generative experience that summarizes entire articles on iOS and Chrome, and Microsoft's Bing Search has already integrated summaries from Copilot, with both basing their answers off of a combination of search and training data. Yet in doing so, these platforms gain a dangerous hold on the world's information. Google's deal with Reddit also gave it real-time access to Reddit's content, allowing it to show Reddit posts natively in search and directly access Reddit post data for training purposes. Yet at some point, these portals will generate an answer based off of the data they have or have access to, in the case of Tumblr and WordPress, rather than linking you to a place where you can find an answer by reading something created by another person. There could be a future where the majority of web users experience the web through a series of portals, like Arc Search's Browse For Me feature, which visits websites for you and summarizes their information using AI. Right now, the internet is controlled by a few
Good
distinct
Lord.
platforms.
I've realized there in the dystopia sweepstakes. I think that there's an actual one that's come out ahead. I can't give you the name. I'd have to think about it for a second. Continue, but I've just had a brainwave. So pending on that, I'm gonna find the name.
All right.
But
right now, the internet is controlled by a few distinct platforms, each one intent on interrupting the exploratory and creative forces that made the web great. I believe that their goal is to intrude on our ability to browse the internet, to further obfuscate the source of information, while paying the platforms for content that their users make for free. Their eventual goal, in my mind, is to remove as much interaction with the larger internet as possible, summarizing and regurgitating as much as they can so that they can control and monetize the results as much as possible. On some level, I fear that the current platforms intend to use AI to become something akin to an internet service provider, offering clean access to a web that has become too messy and unreliable as a direct result of the platform's actions, eventually finding ways to monetize your information's prominence in their portals, models, and chatbots. As that happens, it will begin to rot out the rest of the internet, depriving media entities and social networks of traffic as executives like Steve Huffman cut further deals to monetize free labor with platforms that will do everything they can to centralize all internet traffic to 2 or 3 websites. Okay, and as the internet becomes dominated by these centralized platforms and the sites they trawl for content, so begins the vicious cycle of the Habsburg AI. OpenAI's ChatGPT and Anthropic's Claude are dependent on a constant flow of training data to improve their models, to the point that it's effectively impossible for them to operate without violating copyright. As a result, they can't be too picky when it comes to the information they choose, meaning that they're more than likely going to depend on openly available content from the internet, which, as I've suggested earlier, will become increasingly normalized by the demands of algorithms and the ease of automating the generic content that satisfies them. I'm not saying that user-generated content will disappear, but that human beings cannot create content at the scale that automation can, and when a large chunk of the internet is content for robots, that is the content that will inform tomorrow's models. The only thing that can truly make them better is more stuff. But when the majority of stuff being created isn't good or interesting or even written for a human being, ChatGPT or Claude's models will learn the rotten habits of rotten content. This is why so many models' responses sound so similar. They're heavily dependent on the stuff they're fed for their outputs, and so much of their intelligence comes from the same training data. It's a different flavor of the same problem. These models don't really know anything. They're copying they're copying other people's homework.
Okay, do you want to take a break so we can chat about this?
Yeah, did you want me to stop earlier? Cuz I'm sorry. I just kind of like got on a roll there.
Yeah, no, that's fine. It's a lot of dense information, right?
Yeah, it's like Lindsay was in the chat. She said it's like the snake eating its tail. It's Ouroboros.
Yeah.
And I think that's right. I mean, I think that as AI grows and learns, it's going to be learning from itself. And even if you make advanced AI more sophisticated, the fact is that human contributions can't match the speed and scale at which the AI is operating. I don't think that we can keep up.
Yeah. Well, all right. I don't have a lot to add to that. It's just
Well, we got to go to the dark web. That's we got to go to where the AI can't go, like wherever it's kept out, I guess.
we gotta get more edgy, folks.
Yeah, we got to go to the dark web.
We gotta go to.
I think because it says that it's only allowed to go to certain places. I think there are approved destinations. It seems.
Do you want me to
and
read
it-
it to give you a break or?
Yeah, go ahead.
No, continue. I apologize. I'm a really interrupty person. Excuse me. I've realized that now that we're reviewing the streams that we do using AI.
Yeah.
But I think
You
it's
want
a
me to
bit
read?
different. I mean, I think the use of AI that we're doing, like just you guys know, we are looking into using AI to create shorter segments.
Oh, help.
But
Help to create shorter clips.
Yeah, but I think that use of AI is not a bad one because it's not like what you're doing is you're using it to process something actually made by a human being. Right? You're not using it to create new content, you're using it to frame the content. And to make it more
Yeah.
accessible. That's different, but this is just, and I can't believe that people are okay with this. Like they're just not turning off completely. And just, I mean, this seems to be a race to make content completely unusable for the average human. Okay, I will begin. This is a
Yeah.
quote. This is a quote.
Yeah, as an aside, I also fear for the software code.
I was going to read.
Oh, go ahead, read it. That's fine.
Yeah. Sorry, I thought that was. What was I going to say? Yeah, I'm interrupty, but I've noticed that because we're going through our old streams with AI, and I need to stop that. So, as an aside, I also fear for the software code that's created by generative AI products like GitHub Copilot. A study by security firm SNCC found that GitHub Copilot and other AI-powered coding platforms, which were trained on publicly available code and based on the user's own code base, can replicate existing security issues, proliferating problems rather than fixing them. NYU's Center for Cybersecurity also found in the 2023 study that Copilot generated code with security vulnerabilities 40% of the time. These are also the hard limits that you're going to see with generative images and video. While the internet is a giant hole of content you can easily and cheaply consume for training, visual media requires a great deal of significantly more complex data. And that's on top of the significant and obvious copyright issues. ChatGPT's DALL-E images and Sora video products are, as I noted, limited by the availability of ways to teach them, as well as the limits of generative AI itself, meaning that video may continue to dominate the internet as text-based content finds itself crowded out by AI-generated content. This may be why Sam Altman is trying to claim that giant AI models are not the future, because there may not be enough fuel to grow them much further. After all, Altman claims that any one data source doesn't move the needle for OpenAI. So we're running up on the limitation for video. Because there isn't enough more new content. There's also no way to escape the fact that these hungry robots require legal plagiarism, and any number of copyright assaults could massively slow their progress. It's incredibly difficult to make a model forget information, meaning that there may at some point be steps back in the development of models if data sets have to be reverted to previous versions with copyrighted materials removed. The numerous lawsuits against OpenAI could break the back of the company, and while Altman and other AI fantasists may pretend that these models are an intractable path to the future of society, any force that controls or makes them pay for the data that they will use will kneecap the company and force them to come up with a way to make these models ethically. Yet the world I fear is one where these people are allowed to run rampant, turning unique content into food for an ugly inbred monster of an internet, one that turns everybody's information sources into semi-personalized versions of the same content. These people have names: Sam Altman of OpenAI, Sundar Pichai of Google, Mark Zuckerberg of Meta, which has its own model named Llama, Dario Atmodi
Amode of Anthropic.
of Anthropic, and Satya Nadella of Microsoft. And they are responsible for trying to standardize the internet and turn it into a series of toll roads that all lead to the same place. Oh my god,
Yeah?
it's like CompuServe. CompuServe and AOL. It's like CompuServe and AOL, like
Mm-hmm.
walled gardens. And they will gladly misinform and disadvantage billions of people to do so. Their future is one that is less colorful, less exciting, one that caters to the entitled and suppresses the creative. Those who rely on generative AI to create are not creators any more than a person that commissions a portrait is an artist. Altman and his ilk believe that they are the new Leonardo da Vinci's, but they are little more than petty kings and rent seekers trying to steal the world's magic. Okay, that's a bit of editorializing there.
Yeah.
A little excessive, perhaps. Maybe true. They can, however, be fought. Don't buy their lies. Generative AI may be steeped in language of high fantasy, but it's a tool. One that will not admit it's a terribly flawed and unprofitable way to feed the growth at all costs tech engine. Question everything they say. Don't accept that AI might one day be great. Demand that it is today and reject anything less than perfection from men who make billions of dollars shipping you half-finished shit. Reject their marketing speak and empty fantasizing and interrogate the tools put in front of you and be in the thorn in their side when they try to tell you that mediocrity is the future. You are not stupid. You're not missing anything. These tools are not magic. They're fantastical versions of autocomplete. They can't help but make some of the same mistakes it's learned from the petabytes of information it's stolen from others. Okay, so I think this might be, this individual might, I sense that he doesn't like AI. You know,
Maybe.
a little bit.
I mean, I don't know. Like he might have. I can't say. I don't know enough about AI, but I do know that there has been a lot of like enthusiasm around it, and not a lot of like concern about what the implications are. And I know that people like are going to be losing their jobs, or it's going to be changing the landscape, and I think that's kind of ugly. And I also do worry about the people who are in charge, you know, who own these artificial intelligences and what their intentions are. I mean, Sundar Pichai, Mark Zuckerberg, I think that's concerning. I don't like Microsoft. Like, you know, as a company, I don't like Google and Facebook. I think that they're pretty wretched. And so if they're the ones making these AIs, like I already know that AI has a bias. And people will say that it doesn't have to, but I think that they're going to do everything they can to engineer it so that it does. So, I don't know. Maybe I'm just a Luddite. And I'm not saying that, I'm not making the Terminator argument, but I just think that like the enthusiasm without caution or without wisdom is a bit worrying.
Yeah. And it doesn't sound like this is necessarily going to produce stuff that's worth much. Okay, let's see here. I'm just seeing if we have any more thank yous, and we could do that final little chaser if there's anything more to say, or do you have anything more
yeah,
to say?
okay, the video, the YouTube video.
I mean, ultimately, like I said, stuff that challenges the algorithm will be the only way that you know it's human, honestly.
Yeah.
And one of those things is going to be anything to do with men's issues, anything to do with men's perspective or vulnerability, anything edgy, and otherwise you'll just be sucked into this lukewarm sea of AI puke. And that'll be the future. It won't be as exciting as Terminator. It'll just be everybody drowning in AI puke. Well, I was also thinking maybe we could play the other one with her,
Oh, the sugar, the thing that was shared
Although
on
now that we've shown this, I guess we need to let people see it, right?
Yeah, I will.
Yeah.
We'll do
Okay.
that
Yeah. There we go.
first. I'm not sharing that other thing right now, but
Okay.
all right. This was shared by Sugar Tits. That's on Twitter.
Yeah, at Sugar Tits Bear. So thank you.
At sugar
Tits.
underscore tits
Shout out to
underscore
Sugar
bear.
Tit, who is
And it's when that creepy man
bearing
staring at you in the
significant
gym
other.
saves your ass. What was that?
that bearing significant other Sugar Tits.
Yeah, Bearing's
We
wife.
met her. We met her in Australia.
We did.
along with Bering.
We went to Australia
nice
in
couple.
2017
Very nice
and
couple.
for the ICMI.
They're
They're very nice
couple.
people.
Yeah.
Very down to earth and normal.
And they showed us
So-
the possum that lived in their tree in their backyard. You remember that?
I don't remember the possum, but being that it was in Australia, it was probably like highly venomous.
We barely escaped
Anyway.
our lives, guys. Okay, yeah. So
Yeah.
let's do
So
this.
this is like a gym thought video, I guess. So let's play it. Fortunately, the whole thing doesn't fit. He saved her.
Okay, all right. So I just wanted to show this. I'm not actually sure how it came out, like the original woman, if this was what she put out there. But yeah, like he was watching, and there's a tweet with that expression. He's like, you can see that it's like the any second expression.
That's the face of a man, of someone who knows exactly what's about to happen.
Yes.
Me, clearly a regular there.
Yeah, this is the face of deep concern.
Yeah. Yep. He was putting his shit in his pocket in case he needs to get up suddenly.
Yeah, that's exactly what. So I thought that was just funny because it's like I think I got another freaking metal sliver in my hand. It's just like, I guess, a reversal. Again, I don't know if the woman was actually decent enough to mention that, you know, this guy wasn't being creepy. He was just really concerned. The other thing is that what the fuck is she wearing, and why are people wearing this kind of stuff to gyms?
Well, I mean, if they're influencers, I think you know. Like, it's the attention economy. It just is. So.
Oh crap! I got it out. Oh my god, that was huge. Ugh. Well.
All right, should we look at the other thing now?
Oh man, I guess that could be interpreted badly. No, that was a metal splinter that was in my hand. Okay, yes, let's watch the other thing.
All right. I got a super chow, but I'll read it really quick before I forget. Richard Bier gives us $10 and says, "We, the coffee shop intellectuals and academics, should have control of the means of production, basically removing one form of elitism and replacing it with another form of elitism."
Well,
Thank you for that.
We don't know if that's his approach, but he definitely does not like AI. Honestly, if AI just runs the algorithm into the ground, I'm not going to be crying. Like,
You know, I generally rely on word of mouth to get information anyway,
if we
and
go
like
back
human
to
beings. So
if we go back to like the Yahoo model where things are curated, maybe that would be better.
yeah,
You know,
maybe we should bring back curation. It worked out for gamers.
Oh, we brought it full circle, friends. There you go. Pretty slick,
Yep.
pretty skillful.
Brought it back. Brought it back.
Just like this dude. See that? You see what I did?
All right. Let's play this video. There's another one Allison sent me.
Oh shit, there goes our ability to monetize or not. Okay, stop it.
Why? Oh, do you know this song?
This music's gonna kill our
Here, I'll mute it. If there's no sound, I'll just
yeah,
mute it.
you've gotta mute it. This is the hero.
I love that they
hero-
recorded that.
Not the hero that we deserve.
I wonder if people are going to remember that this flag is only about like 4 years old.
The flag, like this flag, is
Yeah.
the flag even 4 years old? It's the one with the circle.
Yeah, it's like at least it's probably less than 4 years old,
Yes,
but it's very recent.
like the circle one
It's-
is not. That one's. I'm pretty sure that's like less than 2 years old.
It might be. I mean, yeah, okay, maybe 2 years old, but very recent. It's like, and it just it just became normal. Like it was just pushed and pushed until it was just normalized, and now it's normalized. Like, man, jeez, I need like a I need like an image to put up, like one of these, but of what's his name? I can't remember his name now. The ex-KGB guy that got interviewed in the 80s. But anyway, normalized. Yuri Bezmenov. That's what I need. But anyway, so
I think we probably just got our stream blocked in some country. Oh my god. Shit. This is another piece of fucking steel.
if we get blocked anywhere, it's probably just Russia.
Jesus Christ. How much
I don't think anyone in Russia's watching.
Sorry about that, guys. Yeah, it just blocked in Russia. I don't think we have a big Russian audience.
No,
I mean, our stuff really appeals to the Russian soul, to be honest.
Putin probably doesn't let them use YouTube anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know.
Okay.
Maybe everything's blocked in Russia by default.
All right, so I think this is. I just wanted to show that because I thought that was pretty funny. And the comments were ridiculous. Like there was one guy who was like, "Oh, that man is insecure in his heterosexuality," and I'm like, "No, he might just not enjoy the ideological authoritarianism represented by the damn flag. The constantly
the flag is not gay people.
Yeah, it's like that flag is basically,
it's just a regime flag.
The flag is basically the symbolism of the mentality behind 1984 and the party forcing Winston to say that 2 + 2 = 5. Well, they would in the next minute say, but actually 2 + 2 = 6, and believing that 2 + 2 = 5 makes you a heretic. Like that's what it is. It's a constant submission to authority. The flag isn't this.
There are 4 lights.
Exactly. And I just remembered the dystopia that I think might be pulling out in the dystopia sweeps. The machine stops, where people basically live in a machine and all their creativity is reinterpretations of people's reinterpretations of people's reinterpretations of things that went before, and nobody has an actual genuine experience of anything, direct experience of anything. I think that's where we might be going. That one, it's a sleeper. It's like a black horse. It's not one people know a lot about, but I think it might be pulling ahead in the dystopia sweeps, at least when it comes to AI. Oh. Yeah, I still think I have some steel in my hand. So I would like to go deal with that. Shall I do the things?
Yeah, let's wrap it up.
Yeah, okay. So thank you again to everybody who supported us during the show. That would be Craig C, the Great Indoors, and then also to the people who sent super chows. You can send a super chow after the show is over. Go to feedthebadger.com/justthetip. That's feedthebadger.com/justthetip. We invite any commentary, like as long as it won't get me put in jail in Canada. And we'll tell you, we will read it out on the next related show. So feedthebadger.com/justthetip. Tell us we're not screaming into the void. That what we do is appreciated. And you can also support us at feedthebadger.com/support. Help us out with our monthly fundraiser so we can continue to bring you this very, very human content. If the technical difficulties, my profound ADHD, Brian's forbearance and patience did not give you a clue, we are entirely human generated.
Yeah, I am in fact a bag of meat, mostly composed of water.
Yes, we are a meat slurry. We're all meat milkshakes here. Bringing you this content, and if you'd like to support that, be feedthebadger.com/support. All right, back to you, Brian. Back to you.
All right,
meat shake.
I think that's the most Star Trek references I've ever made on a show, because I don't really I don't really watch it that much, but there you go. All right. So if you guys like this video, please hit like, subscribe if you're not already subscribed. Hit the bell for notifications. Leave us a comment. Let us know what you guys think about what we discussed on the show today. You can find a link to the article in the description. If you are really knowledgeable on this topic, your understanding or your commentary will be very much appreciated. Thank you so much for coming on today's episode of Maintaining Frame, and we will talk to you all in the next video.
Are machines, dude. Okay, they are literal machines. They are talking point machines. They are impossible to fucking deal with, especially if you have like a couple dudes who have good memory on top of that too. Holy shit, you're fucked.